Nah, I'm not really. I'm not going to do that whole thing again. We'll leave that in Pokemon. Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. It's not boring. It's not ugly. That said, I saw a comment on a video recently that I didn't save, so you'll just have to trust me. I'm really tired of the current generation of Zelda looking like a watercolor painting, and ever since then, I really can't unsee it. It's like a glass shattered in my mind. No, it's fine. It looks fine. It does kind of look like a watercolor. We got to talk about Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment because I have slammed this game over the last couple of days and I have a lot of thoughts. I do like it. Not as much as Age of Calamity though. And this game's $10 more. Immediately, I gotta say, this being a Switch 2 game specifically and running at 4K 60 frames, just having this game play so buttery smooth is one, just cool on its own and makes the entire experience a lot more enjoyable to play. But two, if you know the history with Hyrule Warriors games on Nintendo consoles, it's kind of nuts to think that this game can handle having hundreds of active enemies on the screen at any given time, hacking and slashing and trying to do you in, while Pokemon is lucky to have 3 stationary NPCs rendered in at any given time. Oh, I'm hacking the video right now. There's nothing you can do about it. I'm taking your credit card information as we speak. I can see everything you've been Googling for weeks. Oh, it's so gross. Wait, why is it not working? Oh, don't tell me you got Surfshark VPN already. Well, at least you don't know who I am. What's that? You recognize the weird tattoo, the bracelet, and the hair poking out underneath the mask? Oh, gosh, dang it. Yeah, it's me. Surfshark VPN will protect you in every single way. Well, not every way. You still got to be careful when you, you know. But when it comes to online shopping or browsing online when you're on public Wi-Fi or Googling the many weird things that you Google every day when you Google, Surfshark VPN has you covered. A VPN, if you don't know, by the way, is a virtual private network. It essentially encrypts all of your data in like a tunnel that nobody can see into. No prying eyes can take a look, which, as you can imagine, is a great thing for when you're traveling on public Wi-Fi at a cafe or an airport. These are hotspots for hackers and people trying to get your personal information while you're on the other connected Wi-Fis that aren't safe. There's also a lot of really fun added benefits you can get from having a VPN. You can decide to virtually put your IP address in Japan or Australia or wherever you want, which means you can get Netflix shows and blocked videos from YouTube in Japan or in Australia or wherever you want to be. It also helps with things like price discrimination. Do you know when you're booking flights outside of the country you're traveling to, you'll have price hikes on everything that you're doing. But if you VPN yourself into the country and then book everything, you will literally save money. And Surfshark VPN is one of the best because with one account, you can use it on unlimited devices. There's a 24/7 customer support. There's a 30-day money-back guarantee even. So if you want to try it out, go to surfshark.com/BeatEmUps and you can get 4 months extra for free. And if you don't mind me, I'm going to go hack this guy. He doesn't even know I'm coming. If he has Surfshark VPN, I'm gonna be pissed. I don't know if I would say Age of Imprisonment is pushing the boundaries of the new Switch 2 hardware, but it's definitely utilizing it and utilizing it well. But let's bounce between something nice to something negative. Just keep it nice and even. They did something different this time around with the story in Age of Imprisonment, and that is that they made it the same. You know how you played Tears of the Kingdom and you got flashbacks of what happened when Zelda went back in time? Well, it's that. Now you might be thinking, yeah, Wood, that's what Age of Calamity was too. It's a prequel to the sequel, like the first prequel was a prequel to the prequel. Well, the first one wasn't a prequel at the time, but it's a prequel now because we have a sequel, I think. Is that how it works? Phantom Menace was a prequel, and that had Darth Maul. With Age of Calamity, though, they did something very unique and different with the story, because in Breath of the Wild, we had the flashbacks as to what happened 100 years ago with the Great War, or whatever it was called. So when they made Age of Calamity, I feel like the developers went into it with a mindset of, well, everyone already knows what happened, so let's do like a time-traveling weird twist, and we'll start the game with a little egg boy, and the egg boy will get yeeted into the past and warn everybody about what's gonna happen, and then all these characters have to come together in this side alternate universe version of what happened. All these other characters that we loved from Breath of the Wild, or that we saw in the flashbacks and grew to love in those because of the relationships they had with Link in the flashbacks from back in the day are here, and now we get to play as them in this new fun and unique twist of a story that we kind of already knew. Fast forward to Age of Imprisonment, and If you played Tears of the Kingdom and you saw the flashbacks, you kind of know what to expect here. They're playing out this story beat by beat and just kind of filling in the gaps, but in a way that we didn't really need those gaps filled. You really could have just assumed that's what had happened back then. It's not necessarily something you had to see. Kind of like in the prequel Star Wars trilogies, it was all stuff that we just kind of assumed happened, and now you get to see it. But I guess just like the prequels and Phantom, I don't know why I'm talking about Phantom Menace so much today. Darth Maul was pretty sick. Like, we did get Darth Maul out of it. And this time around, we do get this pretty cool construct, mysterious, it's Link. I don't know that for sure. This was their way of getting a Link type into the game. And this cute little Korok guy with a cowboy hat that's actually a leaf, he's the best thing in the game. But everything around that feels repetitive immediately. And I gotta be honest, most of the story as it's told is a lot of just talking. It's a lot of very calm and somewhat elegant because everyone's royal and nice and wholesome. The cutscenes in this game is mostly like the Game of Thrones episodes that you skip over on a second watch. But where this game does excel and evolve and change and make itself unique and fun is in the combat, which is clearly where most of the time was spent in development because, oh boy, this is pretty good. There are so many unique playstyles and ways to attack and abilities and items and specials and team up abilities. And then also as you play, you charge up your team bar, and depending who you have on your team, every character seems to have some unique ability and move with another character in the game. It's just always fun to see what the team ups are and how they act. I mean, some of them are so unique and different. It really pays to dive into all of the mechanics. I mean, even down to the Zonai devices. I've really taken to like pulling out an electric one or an ice one and just putting it on the ground in front of an enemy and then just walking into it and wailing on them. Or you can put down a fire one and then get a fan and mix them and they'll make a fire tornado because they've actually taken so much thought into how Tears of the Kingdom played and how all these Zonai devices interacted, and they brought it into this game in a way that feels so synonymous with the base game. It feels like you're in Tears of the Kingdom, but the combat has been just fleshed out and kicked up to 11. And if they didn't develop the game in the same engine, they did a great job at copying it because everything feels one for one. Minoru might be the most unique and fun character to play as. Kind of think like what you did in Tears of the Kingdom when you made like death traps and random constructions and cars and vehicles. Yeah, she's easily one of my favorites. But there's a lot of ways to play. We're gonna flip to negative now. With not a lot of interesting characters. I think for a Dynasty Warriors game that has taken an IP and utilized a bunch of characters, this is by far the most lackluster roster, I think, out of any of them. I mean, again, you look at the Age of Calamity roster and it's just stacked with likable, bright, fun characters that you spent a lot of time with in Breath of the Wild or you really got to know during flashbacks. And then you look at the Age of Imprisonment roster and it's just a lot of gray things. A lot of characters that I don't really remember from the game. Like, I know that this old Zora with the floppy nose, he was someone, I think, in Tears of the Kingdom, maybe. But you can play as him now. Even the Guardians for this game. In the base game of Tears of the Kingdom, you never even saw their faces. You just saw them for a couple seconds in a flashback, and they were each kind of doing the same thing. You don't get this big, rich, deep backstory like you did between Link and Mipha. It's just a faceless character who, in this game's credit and in its favor, it is cool to have these characters' faces revealed and to get to know them in this game. But it's not characters that we knew of and now we're getting to play as them. They're characters that we're having to meet for the first time and hope that we like them. In fact, the roster options were so slim in this story that Age of Imprisonment adds in just random NPCs. Part of the fun of playing one of these Dynasty Warrior games is just the sheer amount of characters and constantly unlocking them. But as I was playing through this game, hoping to get the next cool character or hoping to get a character that I recognized even, when I hit one of these NPC ones and I started to have to learn their combos and ability, I was like, I don't really care, man. The actual gameplay and the combat elements and the micromanaging of it, I do find really enjoyable. For the big main story missions, you'll generally have a giant battlefield with multiple big big battles happening all around it at any given time. You have a bunch of camps and areas you're trying to defend or take over. Then you'll also have big bosses appear on the map, and you have multiple characters with you. So you can micromanage them, and you can send Link, mysterious construct, off over here to go fight that person, and you can send Raru over here to go fight that person, and then you can be here and do this, and then as soon as you've done the thing, you can quickly switch to wherever you sent one of the other characters and take over, constantly micromanaging the battlefield and making sure none of your soldiers or none of your allies get defeated. I know a lot of people, when they think hack and slash gameplay, they can think it's kind of mindless, and I've tried my best to explain how involved the combat actually is and all these different abilities and moves and chains and combos that you can do. But on top of that, you're not just mindlessly attacking, you're constantly thinking about the battlefield and keeping an eye on the mini-map and switching around. I've seen a lot of people complaining recently that this Dynasty Warriors style of format is repetitive and they haven't really fleshed it out or changed it much over the years, and I'll agree with that. This kind of reminds me of a similar burnout people had with the Telltale series, because Telltale's Walking Dead was pretty cool. I loved the playable movie aspect. I was totally gripped by the story, and the style of game was unique at the time, and I didn't mind so much that it felt like I was interacting with a TV show or a movie and making the choices. But then as Telltale, tried to take that concept and do it with Back to the Future, or do it with Jurassic Park, or do it with Borderlands, at some point the format got a little stale and people fell off. And I think that's where we are with the Hyrule Warriors and the Dynasty Warriors games, is people kind of just look at it like, oh, another one. How much do I care about the story to invest my time into doing the same thing again? And I really don't blame people that show up to my live stream or watch gameplay online or look at these games and go, man, that looks kind of boring. Because if it's not for you, it just really isn't. It is just, there's no other word for it than niche. It is kind of a bizarre concept to take such a niche kind of gameplay style and smash it into one of the most beloved and appreciated and generally liked games of all time, Zelda. And for as, nice and quality as a lot of what I've said feels, one part where it does feel really disjointed is just the overall map, which acts as kind of your home screen, kind of like the base of the entire game is done on this map. And it's just really ugly. Like, I know it might be a weird thing to complain about, but every time I go back here, I'm like, ugh. And you go back here all the time. This is the main base of operations. They also baked the skill tree in here in a way which is interesting. So this little icon here, if you click on it and you have the resources and you get the resources from playing the missions, you can complete this quest just by sinking the resources into it, and it will typically upgrade one of your characters. It'll give you an extra ability or combo or an extra heart. Because this is your main interface with the game, it kind of makes the whole thing feel a little cheap. When I select this mission as opposed to this mission, what's the difference? Which makes the whole adventure feel a little disjointed. Things will start popping up on the map when I unlock them, like, oh, you've got something here and you're something here and something here. I don't know where there is. And more than likely, that half of the things that popped up aren't actually missions. They're just skill tree upgrades. So it doesn't really matter where they are. That could be there for all I care about. All I gotta do is give it a couple fish. While playing this game, I got really reminiscent for Age of Calamity. I really did like that game a lot, and it's because I was so engrossed in the story and the characters and the combat, and it all really came together for me. I mean, it's a weird niche spin-off, but I enjoyed it. I don't know if it's nostalgia or because half a decade ago when that game released, it felt a little bit more fresh, and now this concept and this genre of game feels way more played out, or if it's because they didn't really take too many creative risks or liberties this time around with the story. It just kind of does feel like more of the same. And I'm not sure why more of the same costs $10 more than it did half a decade ago. So when people ask if this game is worth $70, I mean, I don't know, man. It only feels like yesterday Mario and Donkey Kong came out, and it was quite literally yesterday when Pokemon came out, and we are within a couple weeks of Kirby coming out and Metroid in a month. So if you are trying to decide what games to buy and you're not sure about this one because you want to buy a couple of the good ones coming up, this might be one to miss. And I'm saying that as a pretty big Zelda fan. It's not a bad game. I'd give it like I don't know, like a 7 out of 10. And I definitely wouldn't recommend it at $70 in case someone buys it. I would hate for you to buy it. and then go, why did Wood make me buy this? This isn't Zelda. It quite literally isn't Zelda. They didn't even put the name in the title.